just do business.
Inc. 500 recognized him as one of the fastest growing companies in the country. Chuck Sanders Charities has a $20 million endowed for black charities and business entrepreneurs. I do want to remind you of one thing. The Twitter hashtag for the event is Pound Cocktails and Convo. So definitely put your feedback there, and we will do a question and answer after these two speak. So without any further ado, Chuck Sanders.
Thank you. I speak a lot, and I have over 600 employees, but I'm truly nervous. I'm truly nervous and humble. Atlanta's not my hometown. I don't visit here a lot, so when he asked me to come down, I'm like, I'll come. I don't know if anybody else is going to come, but I'll come. But I cheated a little bit. I asked my good friend Mya to come. I figured that'd help. So I appreciate you coming down, Mya. I appreciate your time. I've been blessed to be successful in business. And when Luther, he was at my party that I have every year for the NMSDC, the National Minority Supplier Diversity Council. We had a big event here about a month ago, and we rented out a place and had a big event. And he said, "Wow, I'd really like you to come down and talk to our crowd." Now, I applaud for him for that, because I have a restaurant, I own a couple venues, and it's always fun and easy, and we're gonna have some fun tonight. Get me wrong, to bring in entertainers and bring in celebrities. When he asked someone to come in and talk about business, I thought that was really large, and I really appreciate that. So, we're gonna do some questions and answers if you have some. My biggest thing that I want to talk about is, the key to my success truly started with just giving. I had a father who was an entrepreneur. He owned a trucking company, but I always seen him. He was the guy that everybody came to for jobs. He was the one that the community came through to sponsor events. When the church needed an organ, it was my dad. When the school needed some supplies for the kids, it was my dad. So I was always like, wow, that's so cool. How do you do that? He's like, well, you gotta make money, son, to do that. You gotta have a business, but never forget to give back. And that was really my whole philosophy, and it's been my philosophy. The thing I'm proudest about is the fact that we were the number one black-owned company in growth last year in the whole country. And that was really important to me. That means we're creating jobs during the downtime. I know there's 600 families out there that are going to have a nice Thanksgiving, a nice Christmas, and keep doing that. So that's the one message. There's nothing else I want to give to you business people out tonight. Don't forget that the main purpose, make your money, you'll have options, but it's to give back. It's really to give back to the community. We endow Chuck Sanders Charities with a $20 million endowment, which is, every time I say this, people come and run up and say, hey, I got an idea. And we cannot hear you. Go to my website, please, chucksanderscharities.com. But it's to really support entrepreneurs. It focuses mainly on African-American entrepreneurs, African-American females, and we're really trying to help entrepreneurs. We also help all kind of community, faith-based, also really deal with youth and education and health, and that was something that I'm really proud of. Last year we did $5 million in gifts, so I'm really proud of that, and we want to just quadruple that. So once again, really talking about giving as the core for success. And really, it's no big secret. It goes back to Malachi, that what you reap, what you sow, what you give, you will be blessed, and it'll come back, in abundance. So it's not a big secret. I just want to remind people what we already know. My business is Urban Lending Solutions. What we provide is real estate information to banks, to lenders. We provide title appraisals, closings. I talk to anybody. It's a great field to get into. I tell you, we spend a lot of time looking at the economy. The housing industry is going to come back probably in 2 years. So, if you're in real estate, hold strong, stay strong. Look at the backside of it, the title, the appraisal, the closing, loan modification, a lot of business there. I'll be glad to talk to people if they have any questions on that. Once again, going back into giving, I had the pleasure, a lot of people that put this together are friends of mine, Monty with BizMont Entertainment. One of the companies that I invested in, and we got a couple products we do with them. We do some entertainment, we do Fever Beverage, and we do a lot of things together. I was opening my restaurant. I opened up a restaurant, if you're ever in Pittsburgh, it's called Savoy. And I opened a restaurant, and in my grand opening, I asked him, he said, hey, I got a good friend, Mya, I'd like her to come down. I said, of course I know who Mya is. I appreciate her as an artist. But she came, and she became friends actually with my wife, and then we started talking, and she started talking about business and what she does in the community, and what she gives back. And I was like so impressed that I literally asked her a few times to come back and talk at Savoy and other places. So with that said, I'm gonna bring up, we all know Mya, big hand for Mya. But Mya's really come up to talk about some of the things, if you don't mind, and I appreciate her taking the time. She flew down from the studio in New York to talk about some of the things she's doing in the community and what she's giving back. Mya.
I'm here tonight. How's everybody feeling? Good? You look wonderful. Some of you guys know me as a singer. I started when I was 16 years old in the entertainment business. But I actually started as a dance instructor when I was 14 years old. And I've been through lots of transitions in the music industry, etc. And by 2005, I was making a transition into another label called Motown Universal from Interscope. However, I was living in California, and I was missing my roots. I'm from Washington, D.C., the metropolitan area, nation's capital, and I really missed working with children in my community, and I was an established artist by that point. But what I did was team up, network, and formed a 501c3 organization, nonprofit, called the Mya Arts and Tech Foundation, serving my community. And every summer month, I'm a dance instructor, sound engineering instructor, as well as the executive director of my program. And we offer lots of classes free of charge to the community: Teratibu, sound engineering, dance, African dance, praise and worship, life skills, as well as computer skills for ages ranging from 5 years old to 13 years old. So I'm also known as Miss Mya to some of the kids, and it's really, really rewarding for self as much as it is for the children. And I think one of the most impactful things is actually hearing the testimonies and seeing their improvement just with confidence in itself. And these are the things that make life meaningful for everyone. So I applaud you, Chuck, for everything that you're doing, as well as nonprofit organizations like mine. Thank you. And you know, it takes a network, and sometimes it's not all about what you know, but who you know. And I was able to formulate this foundation, a dream of mine, by lots of people in the rooms or just with the business relationships that I've acquired over the years. Patent Boggs, which is a legal organization, just donated $30,000 my first year of their time to actually process the legal work for this foundation to even exist. And in 2012, January I'll be celebrating my 7th year as Miss Mya with the Mya Arts and Tech Foundation. So I'm looking forward to that. And this is what I do every year, and it just keeps me well balanced and gives me a lot more purpose to life. I love what I do. I'm also an independent artist now, so I'm now a new businesswoman, a young businesswoman. And I encourage all of my ladies out there to, step forward and make those relationships. It takes a family and a team to assemble to really move forward in life, but in business, and be progressive and successful. So what Mya's doing right now, I'm sure you're going to have a lot of questions for me because I've been absent, it appears, in the music scene. But what I've been doing is funding, executive producing, engineering my own projects and releasing them overseas. Today marks the first day that I'll be announcing the first release in 2012 of my first independent project back in the United States, self-funded, executive produced, and engineered by myself. It's called KISS, and that will be released digitally on iTunes December 20th. So not only am I a philanthropist, but I've been inspired by people like Chuck in the music industry, as well as Jay Prince, one of my mentors, and Prince himself, encouraging ownership of masters and maintaining your rights as number one, a citizen, but being empowered and knowing what's going on education-wise and business-wise at all times. So I'm happy to announce that, and I'm proud of everyone like you in the room who encourages this and stands for that empowerment. So thank you guys for having me here tonight, and let's network and have a great time.
We're going to have a real quick, it's interesting how business works. Most of the people here are business, but I have an RFP out for a law firm, and one of them is Patent Boggs. They had now, I didn't know that they had donated money to her cause. their RFP just got to the top of the list. I mean, but you know, you think about how that works. You know, they had no idea that we even know each other. But that's what I mean. When you give, you end up getting back, because they'll probably win that RFP now, and it's worth a lot more than $30,000. So we're gonna make them some more money. Hey, if anybody got any questions, ain't a big hand for mine, guys. I mean, I'm a big fan, and for her to take the time to come down, and truly, we really appreciate you guys. And, you know, most of the time we work behind the scenes, and we try to do a lot of things. And when we come out and we see a turnout like this, for, you know, little old folks like us, it really means a lot to us. I know it means the world to me. I'm really humble, and it inspires me to go back and just do more and more for small businesses, for large businesses, for our community. So thank you so much. I mean that. That really means a lot to me. Drinks on the house. No, we'll do that later. That'll be later. Any questions? Any questions for myself or mine? They was probably to speak pretty loud. My man. James, you want to run the mic?
My name is Angela Raven. I had a question for Ms. Mya. What was the biggest obstacle that you faced when starting your nonprofit organization per se with your kids?
Well, as you know, business is business, and business means paper trail, and lots of contracts and execution. So I would say the process from getting from point A to point Z was at least 6 months before I could actually operate. So it was legalities, dotting every I, crossing every T. It was the most time consuming. And then funding, of course.
I got a question for Chuck. When looking at recent graduates from universities, and even in this economic time that we're in, for those who want to aspire to be entrepreneurs, what kind of advice would you provide for those young college students leaving school but not necessarily want to work for a company that side, like, or work alongside with other business owners?
You know my background. Everyone hear his question? Basically, for young college men, people coming out of school, be a postgraduate or graduate, advice on it, still being an entrepreneur. I'll say that was my story. You know, I actually played in the NFL, but the NFL for me meant not for long. I mean, I knew it when I got there. Like, I'm not going to be a Hall of Famer. It hurts running up and down and get hit by these folks. So my plan was I was in the NFL for maybe 3 years, but while I was there, I was networking, and I did go work in corporate America. And I'm a strong proponent of finding the industry that you want to get into, going and working in corporate America, finding out as much information as you can, being honest about it. When you have those bosses or those mentors, or you find those people, don't waste too much time. Do not waste time at work making it your social network. There's plenty places for a social network. Go there, find those mentors, learn the industry, pick an industry with a high ceiling. Something that, wow, this industry is really just making some money. Then look for those niches in there. Look for that niche, something that's not being met. And I tell you, one of the things that was huge for me, that was an advantage for me, I mentioned earlier, join some of the organizations out here. And for me, the NMSDC, the National Minority Supply Diversity Council, easily made my company an extra $50 million. Because literally there's programs out there with banks where they're looking for minority companies that have capacity. And the banks want to work with us, they want to build us up and get us into a position that we can do it. So to answer your question, I'm a big proponent of doing some corporate America just to learn what's going on if you have the skill set to do it. But while you're there, knowing that, hey, my plan is to go out, learn what I'm doing, start my own business. Now, that's to say that everyone needs to go to corporate America. I mean, there's some industries that, you know, that's a little tough, but I think Mya would even say working in the industry helped her start her own independent label. So I'm a big proponent of that. Now there's some special people, if you just really feel like you're the next, you know, Bill Gates, or, you know, you can figure out, you know, those things, fine. But I'm a proponent of going to corporate America, learning as much as you can and moving on. Hope that answered your question. Thank you, brother.
My question is for, I'm a freelancer, I work on my own, as well as at V103. So what would you all give advice for on someone that wants to develop their own business, that's in corporate America, that is afraid to leave corporate America because of the cushion?
A lot of associates of mine, including myself, were multifaceted. You don't necessarily have to leave corporate America. You can keep what you're doing. You can keep your job and have many assets to contribute to whatever it is that you want to do. It may not be full-time, but you may have to be part-time. And I find that social networking is definitely powerful. A lot of my graphic designers are actually met on Twitter or Facebook, and online, even producers. There's so much talent out there that now we have accessibility to find each other. So events like this obviously help, but you don't necessarily have to leave anything behind because you can actually be multifaceted and productive at all things in this day and age.
And I'll add to it, one of those things which you just did. I have a great friend, Mr. Keys, and he's one of the largest developers up north, up where I'm from, northeast. And one thing he used to say is, anytime I went to a networking event, I'm going to ask somebody for business. I don't care. I feel like every person in that place was there for me. So to say, hey, Ma, I might be able to help you, that's what you need to do. You know, hey, the closed mouth don't get fed. That's just a fact. I mean, you know, there wasn't a conference I never worked. There wasn't a place I didn't go that I didn't go, ask for business. 20 people could tell you no. You know, one of my biggest contracts, I was at a conference in Miami, and we were closing up, and Countrywide was over there, and the guy was sitting there, and I went to talk to him and said, man, I'm not buying, I'm not selling. I said, okay, cool, let's have something to eat, let's talk. And I kept asking him, and long story short, a month later, ended up being about a $30 million contract. So ask, talk to people, you know, the person who's looking at you like, hey, you always running your mouth. Well, one day they'll be asking you for a job, trust me.
My name is Milton. I am Tech on Twitter, and one of the questions that I have for you guys is, especially Mya, with your big focus on young childhood education, do you guys think that the government and local governments are doing enough for the scientific or science, technology, engineering, and math initiatives for young childhood education? And what do you think they need to do more? What could just regular people do to help push, kids more focused in that area?
I watch a lot of documentaries and I know what is not being done, especially with history. But science and technology, I actually went to a science and tech high school. And I can definitely say with this day and age with technology, a lot is being done. There are computers and laptops in every school. There are all kinds of gadgets, and even web design courses in middle schools and high schools now. Whether that's empowering or not, I'm not exactly sure because not everyone wants to be in the technology business. I do think that the government is lacking in instilling independent thinking with our youth. That allows us to differentiate between what's wrong and right, what's ethical, moral, what's not. And that's what I really think is lacking, but technology is around us every day. There's 5-year-olds in my foundation and program that are walking to school with cell phones and know how to use it better than I do. It's all around us, so even parenting, I think we're very, very savvy this day and age. Regarding science and mathematics, yes, that's actually what the government is enhancing because that's what is needed, that's what's lacking. Engineering, there's all kinds of schools and technology programs that are existing. I think the arts are falling by the wayside, which actually contributes statistically and factually to the improvement of education, and that's been proven. So I know that the arts have fallen by, community centers have become null and void in a lot of areas that need it. But I do think that science and technology is progressive.
I think it's obvious by, I had the pleasure of working with the Bill Gates Foundation. And one of the biggest things I'm sure you know that they pointed out, their focus is science and the schools. So I think that makes an obvious statement the government is not doing enough. But real simple, the government's who we put in there. A lot of times we pay so much attention, and I know everyone knows this, we're just here saying reminders, just refreshing everybody's minds. Remember, the local, we have to stay on our local politicians. We have to get involved. Pushing the sciences, pushing the math, pushing those, and seeing it's not a sexy topic, So when a politician talks about housing or the next curve, but we got to force them to talk about how are we going to educate our kids.
We've got a lot of financial literacy programs, and it's a hard thing to be able to talk to people about learning about their money, what they need to do as far as achieving their dreams, but it still starts with the money aspect. And I appreciate you guys coming in to be able to talk about how the management of your money has leveraged you to get to where you're at right now. But I'd definitely like you to talk about how has financial literacy for you taken you to where you're at right now.
Which is up there and I give it an A. And an A1 would be, we have to learn more about financial literacy. I was blessed, like I said, to have a father who was, an entrepreneur. But it was funny, my father's best friend was an old school accountant. My father had a 6th grade education from Alabama, but he was smart enough to get somebody around him who was smart and with numbers. And so he always stressed to me, you know, son, make money, it gives you options. So one of the things I really focused on in school was the financial sector. I got my degree in business management, and I went into finance and got my degrees in finance. But you got to understand how money works. One of my things I was lucky enough to do was, you know, while at some level you have to start getting some capital and you have to get some debt on your books. We're actually debt free and everything like that. But I mean, once you learn how, and once again, I want to congratulate, please continue to work with our kids. I'd like to get exchange information, whatever I can do to come and talk to young people about how to get money, how to manage money, how to do, you know, how to use that money to help others make money. Because I like to say, creating jobs, there's some people in this room that's starting to see that right now, you know, we invested in their companies, and one of the things we're teaching them is just how, before we just, here's money, you know, here's the structure, here's how you build capacity. Here's how you handle your finance. Little things like that. I've seen more companies, smaller companies go under, but they just don't understand the local, state, and federal tax and payroll, you know, significance and what can happen there. I've seen companies go out of business overnight because the government decided to show up and say, you're not paying your right payroll taxes. So financial literacy, you know, is something that, and in this day and age, with all the things we have, with the, you know, on the internet, I mean, there's so many things that you can learn, and the people in this room wouldn't be here. So that's really important too. I'll finish with that. It's really important, guys. Reach out, go back, talk to people who you know should have been here, talk to the kids, talk to everybody, and say, you know, why are you spending that hour on the internet? Take 15, 20 minutes to look at some things on financial literacy. Look at, you know, how to handle debt, how to, you know, what supply and demand is. Basic economics 1, 2, 3, you know, those type of things. So I hope that answered your question. You know, we get to an hour talking about our need for financial literacy. I'm gonna let the lovely Mya close this out with any statements or anything.
Well, actually, to address what you just asked, how do we move forward? How do we get ahead when we're in a world that tells us to buy everything, you know, and make us feel better about ourselves? It's about survival first. But then if we have an idea, if we have a business, how do we get from point A to point B to point Z? It's about living simply and under your means as much as possible, living like a bum until you get there. We tend to get caught up in a system of spending, that we're in debt before we can even invest in ourselves. That's what I do find. A lot of things are expenses, and perception, we do have to look nice when we go out, etc. But I come from a family of accountants. My brother is a CPA. My mom is also an accountant, and she's actually my business manager, so I know how it works. And I've been independent, and I've also had a corporation of my own, and hey, it fluctuates, it goes up and down, but I know that living simply is possible, and under your means is probably the best advice that I can give to any age, and not indulging in things that are shoved in our faces every day, because it is about that investment, because that's what it does take to start up any company if you're not getting it from any other sources, or there's not a lot of people contributing. It usually starts with one person if it's your idea, because you're very passionate about it. So live within or below your means.
Thank you, Mya. I'm gonna bring up Luther. I know Luther doesn't like to talk, but really, guys, first of all, this is something new we're trying, guys. I was asked to participate. Was it, everybody had a good time? Was it cool? Yeah. Phil, thank you. We didn't want to waste anybody's time. I mean that. I know how valuable your time is. I really appreciate that. But I want to bring Luther up. A big hand for Luther for doing something a little bit special, you know, and let him close it out. But I got a special surprise. I always like to make an economic impact anywhere I go. So as a reward to you guys for taking your time to come out, for the next half hour, the bar is open on me. Okay? So please have a drink on me, and send the tab to me, Luther. I'm serious, I mean, I appreciate that. Don't get too drunk now.
First off, before I even thank you all, let's thank Ms. Mya and Chuck Sanders again for being such gracious and generous to us all. The whole idea behind Cocktails and Conversation is a joint creation between Prophecy Events and the Garden Circle, is that, you know, we see these people do these great things, we read about them in INC magazine, we attend their events, but there's always a backstory, and there's always more to what's going on. So, you know me, I missed the party. We're doing First Friday afterwards, next door rain. No, but I wanted to do something before then, before everybody got drunk, before everybody started dancing and flirting, to just say, hey, there's science behind it. You know, it's not luck that's led these two people to be as successful as they are. you know, even to our gracious host, the Gilwans, for letting us use this facility. It wasn't luck that let him build this palace. So, you know, just always think about that when you're enjoying the entertainment. Say, hey, you know, how did he do that? And then if you can, approach them on Twitter, approach them on email, find out how to reach them, and then just, you know, take these lessons and let's all try to have a better 2012 than we had 2011. So enjoy that open bar, and thank you all for coming.